less. So first question is, oh geez, my computer's popped up with a random weather report. Okay. First question is, can you tell me a story or a quick phrase about a time that you started to feel like you wanted your music to really count and mean something?
Mm. A time when I really wanted, I realized I really wanted my music to count and mean something.
Yeah, yeah. Whether that means for your community, for yourself, for others, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Yeah. Trying to decide between two stories. Maybe I'll tell both and you can pick one. Is that okay?
that totally works with me.
Okay. Um, so it was probably about 10 years ago. Um, I was in college, and I was taking I've been playing music since I was 11 years um, and would frequently write like pretty funny songs, and then in college started writing music for kids, and I knew that my music could make people laugh, and that's something that I liked about it, and I liked bringing joy through my songs. And then I took this class in college, which was a theater class called Performance of Biblical Characters. And one of the assignments was to do a performance about a sacred moment in your life. And so I ended up writing this. It was, telling a story of something that happened, but it was also a song as well. And it was about a powerful healing experience from high school, where a friend of mine had just died tragically and suddenly. And a few weeks later, I had a powerful experience in community with laying on of hands that felt very healing. And so I told this story and I played this song about that night and about my friend who had died. And I noticed that a number of my classmates were crying. And that had never happened before. I didn't know that I could create music that touched people in that way. And that was really the first time that I realized that music for me wasn't just about bringing joy and happiness and fun, but that it could also be about touching something deeper. And it could be about the difficult things in life. And I'd written songs, processing my own difficult emotions, but I never shared them in a way that I could see them like touch other people and make a difference for another person. So that was kind of the first time I kind of realized that. And then the other story, I guess, was almost kind of the next the next development in that. I was a high school theater teacher for 4 years, and my last semester of teaching, during a team building exercise, a lot of my students ended up really opening up about intense trauma from their past, and it was really heavy, and I made sure people who needed to refer them to the counselor, and it was a lot. And after that happened, I had a conference period the next period, and I wrote this song called "How Brave You Are." And I really wrote it for my students who had shared about those traumatic experiences, and just sort of my message to them. And the chorus is, "I don't think anything differently about you now, except now I know how brave you are." And it was about that experience, and I played it for them, and I've played it a lot since then. And the playing it with them and having them sing along at the end. The ending chorus is nothing's your fault, it's not on you. Sick people do what sick people do. You can be you, that's all that we need. You as you are, now sing with me. And then we all go la di da di da di fucking da. And
Yeah.
I with my students, and I was like, y'all can say fuck, and we're just gonna, if you're comfortable, you can do that. And it, the sort of the freedom that I think we all felt, or at least I was feeling, I could tell some of them felt at the end, and the I don't know, it was a really special feeling. And that was kind of another phase of realizing, okay, yeah, these songs that I'm writing, they can affect people, you know. And that song ended up being a part of my band in San Antonio Junkyard Fort, and we would play that song at shows, and people would open up to us afterwards and share why, you know, that song made them cry, but also made them really happy, and empowered. And so those were two really key experiences. One was like the first glimpse of what could happen, and then the second one was like, oh wow, this is really powerful. This is something really special, and now I see how it can positively affect people. So
True. By the way, do you currently live in San Antonio?
no, I do not.
Oh, okay.
I live in New Haven, Connecticut right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
Gotcha.
I lived in San Antonio for 10 years, and
Ah.
very connected there.
Yeah, my brother lives there, and I'm gonna be there in 2 weeks for Thanksgiving.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's
My
pretty cool.
my brother lives there too. I was just there.
Wow, small world. Gotcha.
Well, maybe our paths will intersect in San Antonio sometime.
Oh, totally. And then also, to get back to you in terms of routes, the only months that I can't do are January and February, because I just don't tour during that time. But
Cool.
I'm definitely thinking that we should probably do some dates in the summer, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
next year. Yeah, so let's 100% do that. And then, like, I'd say touch base early holidays, like January, and then we'll like sketch it out, and then we'll go from there. My other two questions for you is, how do you pace yourself when it comes to touring?
How do I pace myself when it comes to touring?
Yeah.
Well, so I have sort of a different tour life than most in the scene, most scenes, and that's because of my my dual projects of music for kids, and then music for you know, teenagers or adults or whoever else. And so I've toured a lot, but it's mostly been for my children's music career. That's the vast majority of my touring experience has been. So it's interesting because I'll normally play 2 shows a day, like 6 days a week, if it's a full week, sometimes 3 shows a day, and they're like 45-minute shows, like during the day, and I have the evenings to relax, or play St. Augustine's Day and Blue Raspberry shows at bars and venues. And I'm just starting that more. We did that a little bit last summer, and I'm planning on doing that a lot more next summer. And it's funny you asked that question, because I'm recognizing that I'm really packing the summer full, and I'm basically going to be on the road for 2.5 months, and I haven't booked all the shows yet, but it's going to be a very full summer, and I think that it will be more full than most tours I've done in the past, and I think it will be a stretch. This last summer was very easy to pace myself, because not as many libraries were doing in-person things, and so there were a few weeks where I had like 1 show that week and then just got to hang out, and so it made pacing it very easy. And I I love tour, and I get energized by a lot of my shows. And I um I think a few things that help me is staying with friends, and staying still having fun on tour. Um, I feel like I'm really curious to see how next summer is going to go, because I'm recognizing that it's going to be a lot, and I'm wondering. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be a stretch. So I think as far as pacing myself goes, um, I don't think I've hit my limits yet. So I haven't figured out how what changes I might need to make, or adjust as far as that goes. I have really high driving and endurance. For I can drive all day and then drive all day the next day and then do it 4 days in a row, and I can just go. And so while tour takes up a lot of energy, I also find it giving me energy as well.
Gotcha.
And I guess most tours I have had, I've had some breaks in the summer, 3 weeks of being on the road, a week in, in one place. Oh, here's a more direct answer. Um, with the children's music, unlike most bands touring, I can stay in the same place for an entire week and play 10 to 12 shows, while staying with my friends in the same place. Um, and that makes a huge difference. There are days where I'm driving every day onto the next city, But because of the library gigs, the ability to stay in one place for a week, and play that shows, it's easier to feel grounded. It's easier to be rested. It's easier to have routines. And it's so that I think that's one of the ways I'm able to do so many shows, is because I can do so many in one area.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. And then lastly, you mentioned that you really enjoy touring, it gives you energy.
Mm,
Could you elaborate on like how touring or how playing gives you a concept of feeling home?
yeah, absolutely. I feel very at home on stage. I feel at home performing. Um, if I'm at a party, I'm probably most comfortable if I'm performing. I like having the job. I like having the role. I'm confident in doing it. I have a lot of fun when I do it, and I feel at home, while performing. And I think that is a big part of it. Um, I'm also a hyper extrovert. I love meeting people. I love groups of people. I love couch surfing when I tour. I almost always try to couch surf, and meeting the person I'm staying with for the first time. Um, and that's been almost all positive experiences, with few exceptions.
True,
Uh,
true.
and and it feels, and then the is my car often feeling at home. Sort of there's a I feel at home in my car.
Cool.
I think that it's a safe space where I can laugh or cry, or just be me, listen to podcasts or books, or freestyle rap as I drive. It's that can also feel like home as well. Um, and I've been really fortunate that last summer, my wife got to come on tour with me, which was a new experience for me. And being with her feels very much like home. And I'm really excited that she's going to get to come on tour again next summer. as well. She's in grad school right now, and she's gonna graduate in May, but then go to another grad program. So she'll have summers off to tour with me, and
Cool.
sometimes we perform together, which is a wonderful experience too. Um, and then the last way I feel at home on tour is because I feel like I have homes around the country. There are cities that I've been to enough and have enough connections where it really feels like home. I feel really at home in Houston, where I have family. I feel at home in San Antonio, where I lived for 10 years. I feel really at home in Tulsa, where I've been going every summer since 2017, with the exception of 2020, and staying with two of my best friends there. And Tulsa feels like a home. I've never officially lived there, but I've probably spent at least 2 months of my life in Tulsa, from summer to summer. Now New Haven, Connecticut. I've been here, with the exception of the pandemic when I was in Houston. I've been in New Haven, Connecticut since 2018. So I finding those places that feel like home. Wichita, Kansas, I go back there almost every summer, and Kirby's Beer Store, I've connected with people there, and I played a show there, and I had played an open mic there 2 years before, and some of the same people were there, and they came out and we got coffee. And so I think making places that feel like home around the country is a big part of that too. Like sometimes when I'm going to Tulsa, I feel like I'm going to one of my homes.
Gotcha. That's it for my questions, and I just want to say thank you. And
Yeah.
for a debrief, these are all questions relating to different songs on my album. So I'm not going to use your words word for word, but I'll probably take a snippet, and all I need from you is a photo and anything you'd like me to share with, like, your alias or what you do. Because basically how it's going to look is like I'm going to tell this story by sharing the lyrics and then interviews in between the lyrics. And the photos of me, and it's going to feel like a magazine, but it's also like a lyric book telling a story. So
That sounds really cool, Brian.
yeah,
I can't
yeah.
wait.
Thank you. So I'm going to try to interview 20 to 50 people, and get about actually 20 to 60 people, and get like 5 people per song. So
Nice.
I just those 3 questions related to 3 songs on the record, and then I'll go from the next thing to the next thing. So thank you. And all I just need from you is a photo and any other ways you'd like me to describe you. And I'm just going to have, like, you said, and then a quote there, and then go from there. So,
Great. That sounds
all
good.
right.
I'll send you that stuff soon.
All right, cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great meeting you.
All right, you too. I'll talk to you.
Bye.